Welcome to How Great Speakers Think, Feel, and Act. My name is Kit Pang, the founder of Boston Speaks. I'm here to help you become a greater speaker, to build your confidence and influence. And today we're talking all about, well, how do great speakers manage their mindsets and what do they do to bring them to the level where they are at? And what I'm sharing with you all today is through countless hours of interviews with great speakers who've gone out there on stages. All they do is speak for a living, and also professionals that I've helped when they are in organizations, the leaders, the executives, the rising leaders. What are they doing differently that most speakers are not doing? How they are thinking, how they're feeling, and how they're acting. And I want to share all of that with you today. But the very first thing that you have to understand is that great speakers are made, not born. Even Dale Carnegie said, great speakers are trained, not born. Some of you might be thinking, yeah, of course, people have to work at it to become great speakers. But for those who think, some people, they're just born with that innate ability. For example, some people think, oh, can I draw? Well, I can't draw because some people are just innately good with it and I don't have the skill. Or maybe it could be like related with sports. Some people, they're just really good at sports. I'm never going to be good at sports. I'm too old. I don't have the right build, etc., etc. Well, here's how sometimes we could think as speakers. Some speakers, they just have the charisma. They just have that ability to tell stories. They just have it as speakers innately, and they've done nothing to it, and that's just how they are. And I want to be like that, but I can't be like that because that's not who I am. Again, great speakers are made, not born. Do you think that we were born into this world and we were all great speakers? All great speakers were actually poor speakers at first. Even Warren Buffett, some of you maybe have heard this before, he had a terrible fear of public speaking. It wasn't until he'd gone into public speaking training where he felt more comfortable. Same over here with me. I had an accent. My family, we don't speak much, because from the Asian family, all we say is, eat more around the dinner table. And when I got into the American culture, well, some Americans, they're really good speakers. I didn't know how to express myself. I had to work at it too, and actually, selfishly, in a way, that's why I wanted to become a public speaking coach in the first place, because I wanted to become a great speaker myself, and then I fell in love with it, and then I helped others like yourself get better and better and better at it. But I want you to know, if you are thinking right now, oh, some people have it, I'm never going to be at their level. That's where you're wrong. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to be great, then you can become those great speakers as well. And let me share with you some of the mindsets, how they feel, how they act, to help you go from where you are now to your next level of speaking. And the first thing you have to know is all great speakers, they treat speaking, it doesn't have to be with public speaking, but they treat the science and the art of speaking as a lifelong journey. It's a marathon for us. It's not a sprint. Some people I talk to, they say, Kip, I just need to do this one presentation, and then I'm going to forget about it for the rest of my life until the next presentation. And then they sprint again to do really get the next presentation, and then they sprint again when the next presentation comes. No, if you want to be a really good speaker, how can you make this a lifelong journey? To make this a lifelong journey, really think about it. If you want to eat healthy, if you want to be in shape, if you want to get well rested, that's not something that you do on a weekly basis. That's something you have to do on a daily basis. So how can you prioritize your speaking growth? You can listen to audiobooks, right? When you're washing the dishes, when you're exercising, when you're walking, you can watch more of these YouTube, videos that I'm making now. Go on YouTube, read books. As great speakers, myself included, I mean, you should see my bookshelf right now. They are all still filled with books about public speaking. I am still taking courses. I'm signing up for courses for public speaking. I am seeking mentors for public speaking. Same with you. Is public speaking or speaking only a one-time thing for you? Or are you a constant learner, and are you prioritizing your speaking growth? It really comes down to prioritizing your speaking growth and making it at the top you, because once you prioritize it, you will keep on learning and learning and learning about it. So one of the things that great speakers do, when I asked them, hey, what do you do to maintain your speaking? How do you get better as a speaker? Some of the things that they do, when they do talks and when they do videos, they analyze it afterwards. They're like, hey, how did I do when I did my talk? How did I do when I was in the meeting? I recorded the talk so I can watch myself afterwards. Now, I'm not saying you have to watch yourself every single time, but you have to be serious about it. That's how serious they are. Most of my clients are my clients because they are seeking out coaching, right? They make this a lifelong journey, not a sprint. So how can you make your speaking growth a marathon and not a sprint? The second thing is, do you know how to communicate with yourself? A lot of times when we think of, speaking, yes, of course, we're speaking to other people. But if you don't know how to speak to yourself, if you don't know how to communicate to yourself, how can you communicate to others? Of course, yes, we can, but it's the same thing as saying, if we don't know how to be fit, if we don't know what to do, can we teach others how to be fit? If we don't know how to cook this, can we teach others how to cook this, right? The people that become great speakers, they bring it to that next level, and they really have great self-awareness. They really know how to communicate with themselves. They get in touch with how they think, how they feel, how they act. They know what's going on in their head. They know how to manage the inner game. And let me break this out for you really quickly. If we talk about influence, we look at people who are influential, not just because of what they are literally saying. We look at the individual and say, who is that person? Are they living up to their word? Are they doing what they're saying? Are they honest? Are they true to themselves, right? As people who has great influence, we know how to communicate with ourselves. We are not, yes, everyone is stressed nowadays, but if we are stressed, we're going to say, okay, why are we stressed? How am I doing, okay? How am I doing? Instead of taking care of everyone else all day long, we take care of ourselves. We know how to communicate with ourselves. Because when we know how to communicate with our ideas, ourselves, we actually become greater speakers to the rest of the people. Our ideas get more clarity. We think through it. Therefore, when we speak it, it will be more clear to other people. So most of my clients, when I work with them, that is one of the biggest missing pieces, is we don't know how to communicate with ourselves. We are always saying, hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? And the more that we do that, we get into this kind of like rat race. So great speakers, they know how to communicate with ourselves. We take the time to journal. We take the time, it doesn't have to be journaling for you. It could be going on a walk. It could be meditating. But taking some time to think for yourself, okay? If you don't take time to think for yourself, then it's hard to really get your thoughts out at the end of the day. It feels like you just have to keep on talking, but your points aren't really clear. It's not really, you don't really take that time to develop the ideas that you have, and because you're just going all of the time. So how can you learn how to communicate with yourself? Second, I'm sorry, no, this is third. Great speakers seek out great coaching and great training. You cannot do this by yourself, okay? I cannot do this by myself. There comes a certain point where you reach a certain level and you just cannot see what mistakes you're making. You cannot see the level that you're at. You just can't see everything that you're doing. So how can you seek out great training, great teachers to say, hey, here's where you are at now. Here's the next level that you need to go to. Because sometimes if you haven't thought about it yet, it's impossible for new thoughts to come to your mind, and you need someone who's done it before to say, hey, yeah, just make that little tweak, and that's how you get better. After all the books, all the training, all the coaching that I received, I did it wrong in the first place. At the beginning, I was just now again, I was just reading. I was just watching YouTube videos. I'm like, hey, I can learn this all by myself. But after I got someone to really nitpick me, I'm like, man, this blew my mind every single time. So great speakers are not great by themselves. They're great with team members. They're great with coaches, okay? And lastly, the thing that great speakers do is they seek out speaking opportunities, to take more risk, to get more reps in, to try out different things. You know, most of us who might be timid, who might be a little bit nervous with speaking, that's the last thing that we want. The last thing that we want is, hey, give me more speaking opportunities. But this is when we go face our fear, right? And I say this all the time. Fear, is it face everything and run, or should it be face everything and rise? Okay, how can even great speakers, they go into speaking opportunities every single time, and they try something new every single time. When I go speak at events, I'm always including something new that I don't know how it's gonna go. And this is the part that really excites me. Actually, I'm like, not everything new, maybe like 5%, 10%, because I want to try this out. This is what makes speaking more exciting, because you bring your own creativity to it. Once you bring your own creativity to it, you will feel like more of yourself. You see what works, you see what doesn't work. It brings you to the conversation. It brings you, like really you, and people will say, hey, wow, that person is doing things differently. But if you don't seek out speaking opportunities, then you're just going to be like what my yoga teacher said: when you're stuck in your head, you're dead. When you don't have speaking opportunities, it doesn't have to be in front of 10 people, 100 people, or even if you want to just speak up in a group meeting. If you don't take the time for those opportunities, all you're going to be is just stuck in your head and not getting out there in real life. Okay, so this is a quick video on how great speakers think, feel, and act. I hope that you take some of these key points today and then put them in your life. Again, my name is Kit Pang, and if you have not watched my free webinar yet on how professionals diminish their speaker anxiety, go watch that video now. And if you are someone who wants to take your speaking to the next level, my team and I have set aside time for you to get on a breakthrough call. And on this breakthrough call, we really investigate, okay, what's the speaking situation that you're in, give you our professional take on where you're at, and help you figure out next steps that you can take to maximize your speaking growth. So if you want to sign up for a call, you can go to bostonspeaks.com/call. So two things: watch the webinar or sign up for the breakthrough call. My name is Kit Pang. I'll see you all later.